Magic Candle is the final outing on the Famicom by publisher Sammy. You've probably barely noticed them, but they do a lot more on the 16-bit platforms. But it's also the final time that we have a Famicom game based on a computer RPG. It's not the last port. That would have been Sammy's previous game, Advanced Dungeons & Dragons: Dragons of Flame. And that's because the Famicom version of the Magic Candle is a strange situation. The original computer game, The Magic Candle, was an RPG that broke a lot of conventions. It tried to lean a bit more into realism, with character classes that were more real-world professions. The world was a bit more persistent, and the goal of the game was to prevent a demon from escaping the titular magic candle before it burned out. So there was a time limit on getting the best ending. The computer game spawned a small franchise that never really got very popular. The Famicom version of the Magic Candle took the basic quest and then threw everything else in the game out. It is a completely unique game designed from the ground up for the Famicom. It turns the fairly complex computer game into something that's on about the same level as the original Dragon Quest. The plot of the game, as I said, remains consistent. There's a candle that imprisons a demon and it's going to escape, but you're the chosen hero who can stop it. But unlike the computer game, you don't stop it, and you have to fight the demon as an end boss. The controls as you're exploring are very simple. You interact with objects by hitting the A button, bring up your inventory by hitting Start, and bring up your spells by hitting Select. If you need to use something out of your inventory, then you hit Start, pick the item, hit A, and you're done. That's also how you change your equipment. Rather than scrolling freely, everything is blocked off into these small screens. I'm not sure why they did that, and I think it actually makes navigation more confusing than it has to be. Like, I didn't realize this blue line was the path into the church rather than a wall. In towns, you'll find churches, inns, and shops. The church is where you go to heal status effects as well as save your game. There's only one battery save slot in the Magic Candle. Inns will recover your health and magic, and the price to spend the night is your level squared. So you're going to want to spend your magic points almost solely on healing. Shops have everything that they sell in one menu, so consumables and equipment are all jumbled up in one pile. Also, while walking around, you'll notice that there's a day-night cycle in the game. That does absolutely nothing. It doesn't increase encounter rate, doesn't give you tougher monsters, and shops stay open all night. There's also no time limit in the Famicom version of the Magic Candle, so the day-night cycle does nothing. While you're exploring, you'll have random encounters with enemies, and here your choices are to fight, use magic, use an item, or run away. Everything exactly as you'd expect. Enemies only ever appear one at a time, and that pairs with there only being the hero in the party. Defeating an enemy will get you a small amount of gold, a small amount of experience, and that's it. They never drop items or anything like that. And the gold and experience you get is pretty small, so you're going to have to grind a while. Also, the areas that you're wandering around are pretty small too. In the hour that I had to play the Magic Candle, I started out meeting a priest who set me on my quest, and then right after that I had an unwinnable fight. Then I started exploring a bit, went to the second town, got a few levels, found some people living in a cave in the desert, and they sent me to a dungeon, and that's where I had to stop. By my count, I saw 36 screens of the game. And that might sound like a lot, but it only takes you a couple of seconds to traverse a screen. The very few comments I could find about the Famicom version of the Magic Candle were all Japanese players complaining that the game is just Dragon Quest I. This is about as primitive as an RPG can get on the Famicom. Yeah, the presentation's dressed up a little bit, and I do mean a little bit. But the Magic Candle's an incredibly shallow game. There's just nothing here. I was never a fan of the computer game, but I was left scratching my head going, why would you even call this the Magic Candle? This is the bare minimum requirement for being an RPG on the Famicom. And yeah, it's functional, but that's all it is. Unless you're an RPG completist, this just isn't worth your time.